It turns out what we discover ends up leading us to new questions.
The Mariner 4 mission was the first to take us to Mars, and in doing so, changed everything we thought we knew about the red planet.
There is this mystery of Mars. Mars is unavoidably special.
The red planet, it's so often visible in the sky that, you feel like it's just over there.
Mars has been subject of a lot of speculation for a long number of years.
Many astronomers in the late 1800s were seeing what they saw were little features. They eventually called them canal or canali. Those were really believed to be, by some astronomers, areas of vegetation.
Well, Mariner 4 was the first U.S. probe that actually got to Mars.
We found what looked like a pretty barren moon-like world.
Oh my God, there were these big craters.
It made it look more like the moon than it did like the Earth.
There was a real change in the perception of, how hospitable that the solar system off of this planet might really be or not be.
But it wasn't until Mariner 9 went into orbit around Mars that we really began to see some thrilling results.
We arrived during a global dust storm.
But when the dust cleared, then you could see that the entire surface was covered by former seas and mountains.
Yes, there are craters, but there are also spectacular regions on Mars.
Now we had Olympus Mons, which was 3 times the height of Mount Everest.
Ancient volcanoes on Mars? Whoa, that means Mars was a living planet at one time.
You had the Valles Marineris canyon system.
It's deeper than the Grand Canyon. It would stretch across the United States and is one of the most spectacular features in the solar system.
Mariner 9 and Mars, it gave us the hope. It gave us the hope to do Viking.
Well, Viking was a spectacular leap forward.
It was so tremendously ambitious that we thought we could, put something on the surface of another planet and, just play around in the dirt.
I sat in a room with a lot of other engineers and scientists as the first images from the first Viking lander started to come down.
To actually see those first images coming back scan line by scan line by scan line.
A line by line by line. It was, a slow buildup.
It's like any explorer going on the other side of the hill for the very first time. It's that same kind of feeling that you are seeing something that no other human has ever seen before.
I think one of the most amazing achievements of the last 50 years is actually landing the rovers on Mars.
It's the mobility. It's being able to say, hey, I want to go look at this rock over here and drive over there.
Nuzzle up next to a rock and measure it, identify the composition of things around the landing site.
The first rover on Mars, we all know, was the Pathfinder Sojourner rover, which was something about the size of a shoebox. Cute little thing,
I was one of those kids logging onto the internet, refreshing the page, trying to get the next images back from Pathfinder.
It was only supposed to last a few days, and yet it lasted over a month. And to really feel like, wow, we've actually set wheel on another world was just amazing.
Well, Mars is such an fascinating planet, and the more we learn about the surface, the more indications we get that it was this warm, wet, maybe even Earth-like planet.
We continued to follow the water through the confidence we got with Pathfinder to the rovers, Spirit and Opportunity, the 90-day missions that were gifts that keep giving.
The MER rovers have helped us understand the history of water on Mars to a great detail. They're geologists.
They were really looking for evidence that water ever flowed on the surface of Mars, and I think we've now established that that was the case.
We know now that water still exists under the surface, just a few meters under the surface, and also on the polar caps.
Water is one of those essential ingredients for life.
And that gave us the confidence then as we pre-planned Mars to say, okay, what's next? Let's send the labs, the kind of labs that would tell us about the building blocks of life.
The analytical instruments on the Curiosity rover are the most complex, specialized set of instruments ever sent to another planet.
Just the sheer feat of landing Curiosity with the sky crane and everything else that needed to work, that just blows my mind.
As if we weren't spoiled enough knowing that we landed successfully. We got a picture there to prove it.
Those first pictures came out, and I still didn't believe we had landed.
I do this constantly thinking, did it really happen?
It just still gives me chills.
And it's sitting right now on what we believe is an ancient riverbed.
Oh my God, seeing that mound, that 3-mile-high mountain in the middle of this crater with these, valleys and networks, it's just unreal.
It's like science fiction became real. We now have a smart rover on Mars that can do things that 30 years ago we couldn't do in Earth labs.
There are people working on the Curiosity mission who literally weren't born when Viking landed on Mars.
I think people forget that, back in the day, this has never been like falling off a log. We've just made it look a lot easier.